It's Daybreak, and now let's take a look at what's making the headlines on the papers around the world this morning, beginning with this day newspaper as usual. The headline here, Buhari unveils Enaira as CBN launches instrument to support 300 companies. The president says with the digital currency, GDP will rise by $29 billion in 10 years. Nigeria is also the first country to launch electronic money in Africa. Emefiele sets new intervention will jumpstart productive base of economy. Other headlines here on this day newspaper, NSA, IPOB must not test our will to guarantee peaceful poll in Anambra. Says we're determined to proceed with election. That's the INEC. Also, Lagos gets healthcare boost with the Duchess International Hospital. Above the nameplate of this day newspaper this morning, politicians still influencing judges to use court against democracy. All this and more in this day newspaper.
And the Nation is reporting that President Muhammadu Buhari has warned envoys to stay clear of the Nigerian politics, admitting that the politics may be rowdy, but should stay clear ahead of 2023. The rider, President solicits direct investment. The lead photograph for the Nation this morning is that of the President of the country, Muhammadu Buhari, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, during the launch of the digital currency yesterday, the Enaira. Below the nameplate for the Nation this morning, it continues its coverage of the countdown to the Anambra 2021 elections. No going back on poll despite threats, says INEC. Stop inflicting pains, NSA tells IPOB. Others, Uba to restore Oka master plan. For details of this and many more on the front page of the Nation, pick a copy.
Moving on to the Punch newspaper, Buhari unveils Enaira. MDAs may collect revenues, pay in e-currency. The central bank alerts banks to risks, fraud, and threats. Now, you can find things to know about the Enaira if you just go into that. And there's more here. Federal government and petrol subsidy, June 2022. World Bank condemns 2.9 trillion naira funding. We've heard this before. Is it going to happen this time? On page 23, that's where you can find that report in the Punch newspaper. There's more, $148 million consultants pay. President Buhari give governors meet. October revenue sharing suspended. And finally, from the Punch newspaper, Fashola NLC fault federal government asset sale privatization. A minister demands audit.
And moving on to the Guardian newspaper, also leading with the biggest story in Nigeria today. Enaira goes live as central bank floats new scheme to boost economy. 33 banks have already joined the platform and CBN mints 500 million. Transactions on Enaira will be free for 90 days. And President Buhari insists on close monitoring, says digital currency will boost GDP by $29 billion. And that's a picture of President Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and the CBN governor at the Enaira launch yesterday. Just below the picture, another headline on the Guardian newspaper. Northwest demands lion's share of revenue allocation to states and local government. And meanwhile, the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission explains why the revenue formula has not been reviewed since 1992.
A quick run through the international papers this morning, starting with The Independent. Touch and go for COP26 success. One's Prime Minister Boris Johnson. That's the lead story for The Independent this morning. Its lead photograph is from Sudan. Demonstrators gathered in the streets of Khartoum yesterday to denounce the detention of civilian leaders.
And in The Guardian from the UK, Facebook puts profit over harm to society. That's a testimony from former manager, now whistleblower, Francis Hogan.
And the Times newspaper, brace for a winter of rising costs, drivers told, as petrol hits record of nearly 143p a litre. Also, another big international story, Francis Hogan, who is the Facebook whistleblower, telling MPs the cruelty is the last thing some children see at night. As she says, young people cannot escape from bullies on Instagram. That's the Times.
Let's bring in Emmanuel Bello to help us digest some of these headlines on the front pages this morning. Good morning, Emmanuel. Great to see you again. Well, let's begin with This Day, our sister publication as usual. It's leading with the launch of the digital legal tender in Nigeria, one of the first in Africa and in the world to do so. The Enaira was unveiled yesterday by President Muhammad Buhari. Emmanuel Bello. After 3 weeks of delay, can I ask you, do you have your Enaira wallet? And what are your thoughts on this digital currency?
Well, it's historic. It's a historic day and a good showing for the president, a good showing for the CBN governor, who has come under fire in the past months of the way the economy was being handled and all of that. But the optics yesterday were good for the president and good for him, and according to the president, probably also good for the economy. I've not gotten my wallet yet. I'm still trying to even understand what it's all about. We keep asking ourselves questions last night among friends, this is all about. I guess the Nigerians will be asking the same question all through. What's Enaira? Well, how is it radically different from the other kind of e-transfers we've been doing in the past? And the president was very clear about it yesterday that this does not change the value of the Naira, so to speak, against the dollar. That's not what has happened to the Naira. What has happened, according to the president still, is that this is going to help, it's going to ease business transactions among people and the way we used to send money and all of that. So I guess what we're going to do in the next few days is to actually worry about how to understand this revolutionary, very, very revolutionary, the first in Africa kind of a thing. But as at yesterday, the president was looking good. He said some really beautiful things about what's going to happen to the economy in the next 10 years. The GDP is going to rise. Great things are going to happen. Cross-border businesses will improve. All sorts of beautiful things. But the snag remains that Nigerians we have to know what's going on. The Punch newspaper, for instance, trying its best to even explain some things that Nigerians need to know about the e-currency. The e-Naira. This day started the story, broke the story late last month, and now we are having it happening. So, but of course, more questions.
Yeah, more questions, Emmanuel. I was smiling some seconds ago because I remember back when we minted some coins, made them new. Now the Apex Bank has minted 500 million Naira digital currency value. Are the people going, is this going to go the way of the coins as well?
Well, that's one concern, but I think for me the biggest concern really is even understand, especially the rural, in the rural centers, how people are able to understand this whole development, and I think that's why the president yesterday also emphasized that there will be a lot of citizens education around this and to show. But as to what will happen to Enaira, its future, as at yesterday. The hope was that, or the president was so hopeful about it, that this could even jumpstart the economy, and that probably it will not go the way of currency. Like you say, today, how many people are actually using the coins and all of that? Not many people will even have, I don't know when last, Kenneth, you saw any coin or used it, but this might be different. The president's so full of hopes, and trying to chart a new course. But of course, I'm sure, beating his chest as the president who started the Enaira. It's historic, the first in Africa. It's something that any government, especially a government like his, that is struggling with all sorts of credibility issues, image issues. This is something that they would like to boast about. And yesterday, we saw all the pictures, the optics, the vice president clapping, the president and the CBN governor holding up the Enaira logo and making it look as if it's one of the most beautiful things that have happened. And he said so much that we should expect a lot from the Enaira.
All right, Emmanuel, let's move on to the Guardian newspaper that's also leading with the Enaira. But I would like us to focus on another headline on the Guardian newspaper. The Northwest, 7 states from Northwest, are demanding lion's share of revenue allocations to state and local governments. They want 60% and they want the federal government to take 40%. Now, here's one of their rationale. They're saying that the state governments are saddled with funding security apparatus, which is also a sole responsibility for the federal government, Emmanuel.
Well, we saw the pattern building from the story this day did yesterday, where governors were complaining about deductions from from that central purse, where they all go to every month end. And now, I think it was the Kano State governor who was saying, look, the Northwest really need more of those monies. And he's not the only one that's calling for more monies. Almost all the state governments and the local governments are asking for more. And like we said yesterday, it's not about how much you get, but how much you're able to translate what you are getting into concrete, development for your people. There are Nigerians who look at this story and say, you're asking for more. What have you done with what you've got? And the excuses or the reason for asking for more are always there. They're saying the states are doing more in terms of trying to secure their people more than what the federal government is doing. And they think that, states should be getting more than that. And there are people who tell you that, no, the local governments should be getting more of these monies. There's been effort in the past to ensure that local governments get their monies directly from the state government. Because right now, what you have is a situation where states keep all the monies to themselves and nothing much goes to the local government. And so you begin to have the kind of problems you're having. The local government are dried up, everything is at the state level. But there are people who are questioning these sharing formulas. In fact, for most Nigerians, the biggest question is that when you get this money from the central, the federal government gives you this money, how do you translate them into concrete development at the state level? We should be beaming our searchlight to the states to see how, beyond them asking for more, what they're even doing with what they get at the state level.
Okay, very quickly, Emmanuel. The Nation. President Muhammad Buhari is telling envoys to stay clear Nigeria's politics. He admits the politics may be rowdy ahead of 2023, but stay clear. Why is it important? Why has it become necessary for President Buhari to tell envoys such? And is this wishful thinking on his part?
Well, I think it's almost very normal for the president to tell, but it's not the first time, that countries will tell other countries that, look, we have sovereign rights over what's happening, and of course, to restore some kind of confidence and hope in the international community, and tell them that all is going well, we're okay. Don't forget that there's been a coup in Sudan and some other hotspots around the country. And so the president would like to tell, envoys that, look, of course, like you said, everything that is happening is within the democratic limits of the time, and that is the way building into elections 2023, this kind of things are expected. So he is trying to restore confidences in the international community, tell them they are safe here. Don't forget that some countries have done travel adversaries, warned their citizens and all that. But the president saying, look, these crises are very normal, they're within normal limits, and that, but we have to ask ourselves if the envoy will be convinced, because they will do their own personal assessment and, talk to themselves and then find out for themselves if, yes, these are very, very normal times, and if they're within the limits that the president is talking about.
Well, we'll leave it there at this time. Thank you so much for your insight this morning, Emmanuel Bello.